In June 2019, I took to the road to ask people from all over the country about their dreams. I thought I would be learning about them, but I'm also learning about myself.
This is Carol, and she's agreed to answer the 3 dream questions. Are you ready, Carol?
I'm ready.
Okay, the first question is, what are your hopes and dreams? What are your visions?
My hopes and dreams, I'm very fortunate to say I'm living a lot of my dreams at the moment. We live in a really wonderful, wonderful place. The quality of life is very high. At this point in my life, I get to pick and choose what I do since I'm retired, and I can only take on things that are going to give me meaning. Probably more of my life is behind me than is ahead of me, and so I don't have time to fool around.
Oh. You like fooling around?
I do like fooling around. Fooling around is fun, but things that I might have done in the past because I felt they were expected of me or I should do it, that pretense is gone. I'm able to say no to a lot of things, to do things that I think are more important.
It's really interesting. I as a former school teacher, I had a student come in the last day of school one day because I would require them to do service work for part of their grade. And she worked at an old folks home, and she said, I love being around old people. I want to go into geriatrics. She was like 15. And I said, why is that? She says, they're the only adults that always tell the truth. And that's what I'm hearing from you.
Absolutely. It is. It's about the truth. I don't have time to waste, so I need to do things that are important, that are meaningful. The best thing I can do for people now is to give them my time. That's the biggest gift I can give them. So if I give someone my time, it means you're important.
Thank you for giving me some time.
I'm very happy to do it.
Do you have any visions? Let's say you can take out a magic wand and touch the planet with it. Is there something that you would do?
You know, the one thing I'd love to do that I'm not sure I'm ever going to fit in, but I would love to do, if I could just snap my fingers and go to Antarctica, I would go to Antarctica, because that's one of the, I don't know if I would say it's untouched, but the parameters of man are much less in Antarctica. Yes, yeah. I want to see what there is in the world, because even in the oceans, I mean, you see that big plastic island of trash. That is the saddest thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. And we could do more to fix that. Yeah. We just have to choose to. So I would love to go someplace that is less of the hand of man.
Antarctica to live or just to visit?
I would visit.
Yeah.
I would visit. I would say that Antarctica, that's a harsh place. There's not a lot of room for error. This is not the day you say, oops, and it will work out all right, because it might not.
Oh, very cool. No one's ever told me that Antarctica was on their vision and dream list.
Oh, I'd love to go to Antarctica. Well, I read Shackleton.
Oh, yeah.
Where he went to the ice and got frozen in for like 2 years, and he didn't lose them, man. Shackleton, now there's a childhood hero
for you.
There is a hero.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So where did this come from?
You know, I think there's something in my DNA. I'm from Maine. I'm from the coast of Maine. When I go to the ocean, that ocean speaks to me. It's like I have salt water in my veins. So, you know, to be on a ship, to be on the ocean and smell the salt air, it must have come down through generations of Maine people who have been in Maine since the early 1740s or 50s. Wow. God knows why. If you sailed across on a ship from Europe and you hit Maine at that time, you'd say, this looks like a great place. Really?
They must have hit it in the summer. Huh?
I was thinking that. I was thinking. It was probably not November. It was probably not November.
So let's go back to when you talked a little bit about your childhood a little bit in Maine. You know, what that was like a little bit. Do you remember some of your dreams, some of the things you wanted to become, or some of the things you would look at and say, oh, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that?
The outdoors was always part of who I was. So whether it was hunting or fishing or hiking or, you know, anything you just go out and play in the woods and have forts. it was always there. That dream of the land and being close to the land was always there.
Okay. So there wasn't anything specific that you wanted to do or become as a child?
I wanted to be Daniel Boone when I was a
Daniel
child,
Boone.
in the worst way.
Okay.
The coonskin cap, I'm all over that. Fess Parker, the old bad
that.
black and white
I
westerns
remember.
where people rode horses and shotguns and lived, like you thought the frontier was. That's who I wanted to be.
Well, you kind of had that environment a little bit. I mean, you were more of a rural environment where you were from.
I always,
kind of reinforced.
yeah, I always live early, always. I didn't live in a city till I was probably in my early 20s, and I said I should try the city, so I went to LA.
Oh wow, yeah. And you went from the hot to cold, or cold to hot.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But I mean, my life was always outdoors. My family were all outdoors people. We lived close to the land. We burned wood. We had our own garden. We hunted and fished as a family. My father is a huge outdoorsman. He had a series of books written about him for young adults called Jeff White, written by Lou Dietz, a Maine author.
Wow.
So the outdoors was where
That's
it's
part
at,
of
and
what
it
it
still is. We live in the woods because we chose to live here.
I think I have an answer for the next question, but I'm not going to say what I think it is because I want to hear you say it first, and then I'll just say, yeah, that was what I was going to say, no matter what you say. But
okay.
If you could talk to young people today, or if you could go back and talk to your 13-year-old self, is there something you would whisper in your ear? Say, Carol, what would you say?
I would tell myself to be braver. I was actually incredibly introverted as a child and into my teens. And then when I started traveling around the country and working and, backpacking or going on adventures and seeing a lot of the world, I had to interact with people more. And that was a really good experience for me. So I would say be braver. Be braver than I was. How's that? I mean, I think I was pretty brave, maybe for the time that I was in. I mean, I've hitchhiked across the country by myself. I've worked in, Wisconsin, Alaska, California, Texas, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. I mean, there's a place. I could go there and pick up a job and I could work there.
Wow. That's crazy.
But to see America like that, that's what you need to see.
I feel like I'm being brave driving around.
You are brave.
And I didn't hitchhike as a young girl. So if you were talking to somebody that was just starting out in life, or somebody that was newlyweds, do you have any advice?
I do. I would say you need to put the material things aside. I mean, you have to take care of business and earn a living and make enough money to put food and shelter over your head, but a lot of the material stuff that we seem to desire these days are not important. People are important. Newlyweds, your partner is the most important person in the world, and you should
Can you
treat
say
them
that
with,
one more time? I'm
yes,
thinking that truck
yeah,
just kind of went over you.
Yeah. Your partner is the most important person in the world, and you need to treat them with kindness. You need to make them and act in a way and speak to them in a way that they understand every day how important they are. And it's a journey together. You have to do it together. Sometimes it's 90-10 and sometimes it's 10-90. And sometimes it can be that way for a long time. But you genuinely have to like each other because love is easy. But liking someone and staying with them is hard work.
Love is easy, liking's work.
It's a lot of work. And there are times you're not going to like the person you're with. Whether it's, could you please put the sheet away like that? Or, you're doing something that's annoying me. But you need to have that space. It's hard work to live with someone. It's hard work to live with yourself. Add someone else into the equation, and it just goes off the chart.
Last little thing is, as we've talked and as you've been talking and you've been thinking about the answers to these questions, is there something that came up for you? And it doesn't have to come up.
I would still say I still have a lot of living to do in my life, and I'm on a spiritual journey on the end. I don't know what this last, quarter century or whatever I have in me is going to bring, but it's a magical time of life, and it feels like a time of giving.
You're saying this is a magical time of life and
a time of giving. Of giving. Whether it's, I'm an excellent spouse. I'm a good daughter. I adore my nieces and nephews. I'm a good friend. But there's more. The circle of life gets bigger than that. You need to be able to give that every day as much as you can, even if it's just a little thing.
So, if I'm hearing correctly, as your last words to yourself and to us is that as you go along and as you spend all of your time accumulating or doing things, in your life, the material stuff, the relationship with your spouse is extremely important. That's your main focus as far as people go. The material things are coming and going.
Yes.
And then at the end, it's the service.
It is. Because people aren't going to remember the stuff they have. They're going to remember you for who you are. And that's what we're going to take on the path of souls as we cross over.
Thank you.